The number one question I get asked all the time is, how much money do you need to live in the Philippines? Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who have never been here before, my name is Mike, and this is Mike's Philippine Retirement, Life Abroad After 60. The biggest question anybody ever asked me, and the most common question I get, so many emails, so many messages, is how much money do I need to live in the Philippines? Budget videos, they're very important. Some people say, oh no, not another budget video. But budget videos, there's always somebody new coming up, somebody who is just reaching that age and they've decided they've had enough and they want to move to the Philippines, and they need to know how much money they have to bring with them, how much should they budget in their life. This video I made a couple years ago, and it's still a good video about a budget. It works here in the Philippines, it works great here in Dumaguete, and it works well in Cebu City. Guys, I made this video, the peso was 55 to 1. I'm saying you need 2,200, that's my budget. If you're a single guy, you need $1,600. But with the peso becoming weaker, and my last transfer, I got 58.6 for every dollar. So the dollar, God bless America, the dollar is super strong. So check out this video, guys. Keep in mind, it's based on 55 to 1 instead of 58 to 1. It still works today.
Hey guys, the last few months I've been blowing through the budget, and I decided to sit down with Janet. We tried to do a daily budget update, but that went all to crap. So we sat down, went over all our spending, went over all our receipts, and we come up with a good, solid, common sense budget for you guys, and also my budget. So I'm going to compare my budget with what I think is for a single guy or a guy with a girlfriend. And I'm going to call that the common budget and my budget. So let's go over what I think it's going to be. For the common budget, I'm going to shoot for 1,600 USD for a month. My budget is 2,200 USD a month. So first, let's talk about rent. The rent for me, and this is going to include the electricity, the water, and the internet. And I'm going to be peeking at my notes every now and then, so if you see my head dropping down, you know what that's for. My rent now, since we're moving, has gone up 200. So that's why we've gone from 2,000 USD up to 2,200 USD. My rent is going to be 35,000 pesos or $635 a month. My electric, which has been averaging 3,800 pesos a month or $70. My water bill, now this is the water you use to wash dishes, flush the toilet. It's the water that comes right into the house, has been running about 300 pesos a month, which is $6 USD. And my internet, and I use 150 MOBs, is it called? Mbps. The 150, it's a little bit more expensive than the 100, and it's 2,200 pesos a month or $40 USD. And that also includes my cable television. That's with Phil products. Now for the common guy, I don't want to really say he's common, but for an average Joe that comes over here, I think you're going to be spending about 20,000 pesos for a nice place to rent. And that's $365. Your electric should be about 4,000 pesos. I think you're not used to not having air conditioning yet. You're going to spend a little bit more with the air conditioning. So you're going to use about 4,000 pesos a month, which is $70. And again, the water that comes to your house, I think you're going to pay about 400 pesos a month for your water. I remember when I first got here, I took a lot of extra showers. Your internet, you're going to get the slower speed. You're going to get the standard 150 megabytes, and with Phil products, that also comes with 200 television channels. So that's going to run you about 1,600 pesos a month or $30. So that's what I consider your base living costs there. Let's get into the groceries. Now, Janet and I, we're a family of three, and I eat a lot. Janet eats more than you would think, and she has a 12-year-old son, and he eats a lot also. So I'm budgeting 30,000 pesos a month for our groceries, which is $545 a month. Dining out. Janet and I do go out a lot. We go out a lot more than a lot of people. And I'm going to budget 12,000 pesos for that each month. And that's $220 US. The drinking water. These are the 5-gallon jugs of drinking water that we buy. And the company we use, we pay 25 pesos per 5-gallon jug. And that includes delivery. So we go through 10 a month, so that's 250 pesos, or about $5 for our drinking water. This one I call the coffee shop. This is where you just get up and you go out. Maybe you have a beer, maybe you have a coffee, maybe you go down to the corner and have a donut. Whatever you do, I'm budgeting 6,000 a month pesos for me and Janet. And we always go together, so there's always two of us. And that's going to be $110 US per month. For you guys coming here, what I call the common budget, I'm going to say your groceries are going to be closer to $100 a week. So you're going to spend 20,000 pesos a month, or $365 for your groceries. Your dining out is probably going to be about 15,000 pesos. You just got here. You're really not going to want to be cooking a lot in the house when you first get here. So budget a little bit extra for dining out. That 15,000 pesos, that comes out to about $10 per day. So that's $270 or 15,000 pesos for dining out is what I'd put in your budget. Your drinking water. You might not get the deal that Janet and I got, so I'm going to say you're going to spend 40 pesos per 5-gallon jug delivered. Up there in the Valencia area, a lot of people pay 40 or 45 pesos for a jug. So 10 of those would be 400 pesos a month, and that's about $7. Also, you're going out in the morning. Like I said, going for a coffee or going for a beer now and then. If you're a single guy, it's just you. I'm going to think about 3,000 pesos for that, and that's about $55 a month. Let's talk about your laundry, guys. You're going to get here, you need your laundry done. Chances are you're just going to use one of these laundry services here. Figure 1,000 pesos a month for your laundry. That's $18. My personal laundry in our house is, again, about 1,000 a month in pesos, $18. But Janet does a lot by hand. She washes my shirts, she washes PJ's school clothes, and the whites by hand, where I don't think you're going to be washing by hand. And an expense I have that you guys don't have is I pay into Janet's Social Security here in the Philippines. That's the Social Security for a Filipino in the Philippines. And we do about 700 pesos every month, which is $13 a month US. Something I'm going to recommend for you guys to be using, PhilHealth. I want you guys to get PhilHealth once you have your ACR card and you're established here. PhilHealth is 17,000 pesos for the year, but we'll break it down monthly. It's 1,416 pesos if you break it down per month, and that's $26 USD. On my side of the ledger, I do the same thing. I pay PhilHealth. It's 1,416 pesos a month, or 26 bucks. But Janet, to cover Janet and her son, they're on a separate policy, and their policy is 400 pesos a month, or $7. So that's an additional fee that you would have if you have a girlfriend and she has a kid and you kick in for their PhilHealth. So guys, let's talk about the tourist visa. You're going to have to spend every month, and you might get it once every 6 months. You might get it once every 2 months. You might get it monthly. That's up to you on how you get it. You can extend your tourist visa online, and you should be putting away money for your ACR card. And I would put away 720 pesos every month towards your ACR card. I do the exact same thing. I budget the 1,500 for my tourist visa, and I budget the 720 pesos, and that comes out to about $40 for the two every month. Transportation. Everybody's going to be different on your transportation. You know, when you first get here, maybe you won't have a motorcycle. Maybe you'll rent one. And if you rent a motorbike, it's going to run you 5,000 to 6,000 pesos a month. I'm not going to put that in the budget. What I think you should budget for your first month here and for every month thereafter is 3,000 pesos for transportation. That gives you 100 pesos to pay the trike, pay the jeepney. If you're here in Dumaguete, that should be plenty to get you into town and get you back home every day. So that'd be 100 pesos every day for 30 days, and that's your 3,000 pesos a month for that. And that comes out to about $55 per month. On my side of the ledger, since I have a motorbike, I budget 2,000 pesos a month for fuel. And now we have 2 motorbikes, so that's Janet's and mine. That 2,000 pesos, that comes out to $36 a month. And I also budget 500 pesos for other costs. And that'd be if you need a tire down the line or oil changes or any kind of maintenance. And that's going to run you about $9 a month. A separate cost that I have that you guys don't have is private school. Now at PJ, we send him to school. It's a private school, and it's 14,500 a year for that. And I broke that down monthly, and that comes out to 1,210 pesos a month, or $22. If your girlfriend has a kid, or you get married and she has children, or you have children in the future, I would also double that. And I'd use that 1,210 pesos per month in addition to cover uniforms, books, projects, new pair of shoes that you're going to incur because you have a child in school. So that's another 1,210 pesos a month, or $22. But that's just on my side of the ledger. On your side of the budget, you don't have that one. Now also, I think you should put away some money for medical. Now, I'm a cash person now. I have PhilHealth, and I'm self-insuring on my medical. So I'm putting away 300 USD every month, and that's 16,500 pesos. And I also put away money is the miscellaneous. And that's just the extra money that's left over at the end of the month. That's 4,200 pesos, about $76 I put away towards miscellaneous. On the common side of the ledger, your medical, I'm going to assume you're younger than me. I'm 70. So I'm going to assume you're coming over here at 62 or 65. You can get health insurance for about 2,000 US a year, or you can be self-insured. I'm saying put away 250 USD towards your medical, and that's 13,750 pesos. And I'd also put away 2,300 pesos for miscellaneous, which is about $42 a month. So if you add up everything on both sides, my own personal budget is 2,200 USD a month, and it's gone up from my 2,000 or 100,000 pesos because my new house that I rented is an additional 200 a month. So that's where my increases come this month. But for you guys, come over here. I think 1,600 is plenty with this budget. I think you can find a nice, comfortable place to live. I think I've taken everything into consideration. Your eating habits, your drinking habits, everything is different for each and every one of us. You can move some of the numbers around, eat out less and buy more groceries, or vice versa. Maybe you don't do coffee in the morning and you're going to do a beer at night. You just have to figure out the difference. But this budget is pretty good for 1,600 USD a month. And in there is your $250 to go towards your medical, and another $42 or $43 for miscellaneous. Travel expenses, everybody asks me about this. Mike, you got to budget travel expenses. Your traveling should be coming out of your savings. I can't tell you how much to budget to go on a trip to Bohol, go up to Iloilo, or take a long weekend in the Cebu City. That should be coming out of your savings. That should be coming out of your reserve fund. Also, your, what I call get out of town money or emergency money in case you have to leave, you have to go back to the US, or something catastrophic happens. That's separate money. That should be in a different savings account. And your startup money. Remember, when you come here and you rent a place, hopefully you get a furnished one the first time. You get a furnished apartment or a furnished house. But you might have to buy plates. You might have to buy pots, pans, a coffee pot. There might be things that you want to have to make it more comfortable for you. Maybe a new pillow. I remember that was a big deal with me and Janet. We went around looking for new pillows for a couple weeks once I got into the apartment and she started spending time with me. So have startup money. So I think you can make it on $1,600 a month, even a little less if you're not too worried about your medical at this time of your life. But there's plenty of wiggle room in there to move your money around. Maybe you can find an apartment cheaper than 20,000 pesos a month. Maybe you'll pay a little bit more. But the framework for the budget is there. It gives you a good basic idea. Guys, leave me a comment down below. Am I spending too much money for rent? How's my budget? My budget's solid now. Me and Janet went over the numbers. We spent a week talking about this, going over receipts, going over our daily spending. And I think this is a solid budget. There's plenty of room in there for food, plenty of room in there for us going out for our morning coffee, plenty of room for our joy rides, and eating out. Because I believe you can eat out for 250 pesos each to 500 pesos each, depending where you're going and what you're getting. So if you're going out, buying a lot of beef, you want hamburger, you want prime rib, you want all top quality food, it's going to cost you more. But if you're just going out and getting simple meals, you know, roast chicken dinner, a simple hamburger, you know, some sort of pork adobo or something simple, it's not that expensive here in Dumaguete. Cebu City would be a different animal. I would add $400 to your budget if you're going to be in Cebu City, and I would make your budget 2,000 USD, and I would just keep the rent at about 25,000 pesos. So guys, let's go over the common budget. The budget I think that's good for you guys, not so much mine, but your budget. I think here in Dumaguete, you're going to be able to find a good place to live for 20,000 pesos a month. You're going to be able to have good use of your electricity, good use of your air conditioning for about 4,000 pesos a month. Water, your water usage, it's going to fluctuate between 300 to 400 pesos a month. If the place has a swimming pool, they're going to charge you extra for water because your water is going to go into the swimming pool. And the internet, you can get Phil products here, get good enough internet for anything you need to do, upload and download, and up to 200 television channels with Phil products. So look for that. That would run you, everything that I just talked about will run you $472. Groceries, I figure about $365 a month. Dining out, $270 a month. Your personal drinking water in the house, about $7 a month. And your morning going out for coffee, it's a big thing. I didn't think it was such a big deal when I was in the States, but if you're up in Cebu and you go to Ayala Mall or you go to IT Park, everybody sort of goes to a coffee shop to get their morning cup of joe. And that's the same thing here in Dumaguete. You go down to the coffee shop or you go down to Tom and Tom's or Ground Zero and you have yourself a nice cup of coffee and talk with friends and other expats. Remember, you're not going to be doing your own laundry. If you got a girlfriend, she might do some of it, but you're still going to have to do your own laundry. I'd budget 1,000 pesos or $18 a month for that. Get PhilHealth once you got your ACR card. I think it's just a good piece of backup for insurance. It doesn't cover everything, but you're going to get a percentage off your hospital bill with PhilHealth. It'll also get you into the hospital. And for your visa, your tourist visa and your ACR card, I'd be budgeting about $40 a month for that. Public transportation, 3,000 pesos or about 100 pesos per day. In Dumaguete, works fine. Same thing in Cebu. Most of the cab rides you're going to take are about in that 100 to 200 peso range, and you're not probably going to take a cab ride every day. Your medical, put away money for your medical or buy health insurance. And I believe 250 USD a month is plenty. And also put away a little bit just for miscellaneous, about 42 bucks for that. That's going to give you a budget of 1,600 USD. And you should be good to go. Again, like I said, leave me a comment about the budget. Let me know what you think. Compare the two. So until next time, thanks for watching.